I've now been putting some serious hours into Battlefield 6. From the rough around the edges launch all the way through Season 4's Naval Warfare update that dropped about a few days ago. And I've got a take that might surprise you. Because here's the thing. The Battlefield 6 people are playing right now is not the same game that launched. Some of that is good. Some of it we need to also talk about. I'm not here to tell you it's the best Battlefield ever or that it's dead on arrival. I'm going to give you my genuine, unfiltered first impressions across the whole journey. The gunplay, the maps, the destruction, the seasons, and whether this new naval content actually delivers. If you've been on the fence about jumping in, stick around. Because by the end of this, you'll know exactly whether it's worth your time and money in 2026. So let's get into it. My very first match, the thing that hit me immediately was the scale. Battlefield has always been about that only in Battlefield's chaos. The moment where a building collapses next to you while the jet screams overhead and someone's driving a tank through the wall. And within about 10 minutes of my first game, I got one of those moments. But I'd be lying if I said the launch experience was flawless. Like a lot of big live service shooters, there were the usual growing pains. Bug issues, balance issues, and other stuff like that. Nothing that killed the game for me, but enough that I understand why some people bounced off early. But what kept me coming back though was the core loop. When Battlefield clicks, nothing else feels like it. The question I had going in, and the question that this whole video was really answering, is whether that core held up as the seasons rolled out, and whether the developers actually listened. Let's talk about how it actually feels to play, because this is where a shooter lives or dies. The gunplay in Battlefield 6 is honestly some of the most satisfying the series has done. I love it. The recoils are good, the weapons are good, the variation of arsenals, and basically everything about the combat is good. Every gun has enough personality that switching loadouts generally changes how you play. And the attachment system gives you real room to tune things to your style. Movement is the other half of this. It can be fast and fluid, and it's more grounded and tactical than the other games in Battlefield. Sliding is a bit slow, but it's enough to get through the missions. But also for me, it hits a sweet spot where you feel mobile without it turning into a twitchy arena shooter. Where I'd push back a little though is maybe certain weapons and there being a balance issue. There's just some weapons, such as submachine guns, that feel least dominant than, let's say, the Scar H that's shown in the latest update, and the M16 and the M4. Weapons like that. It's not a deal breaker, but it's the kind of thing that separates a good shooter from a great one. And it's exactly the stuff the seasonal updates have been chipping away at. Now, maps and destruction. The two things Battlefield absolutely has to nail. Destruction is the series signature. And here, it's dynamic, and it has a lot of meaning to it. Like when you play it, there's a lot of destruction when you, let's say, use a grenade launcher, or call it an airstrike, or just use any sort of weapon to destroy your enemies. My favorite version of this is when a match reshapes itself. You push a point, walls come down, sight lines open up, and suddenly the whole flow of the fight is just different. It's like you're really immersed in the battle itself. I know I keep repeating myself, but it just feels like that. On the map side, my standouts have been pretty vertical, a lot of flow, and a lot of vehicle versus infantry balance. Like it's massive on a scale that it needs to be, and it can be just less massive when it also needs to be, if I'm putting it right that way. But the maps are all right. They're good. They're decent. They're enough for Battle Royale, Red Sec, and just other modes in Battlefield 6. But all of this matters for the naval stuff as well, which I'm getting into, because Season 4 fundamentally changes what map is by putting water combat front and center. Now, before we hit Season 4, let's quickly speedrun how the live service has evolved, because context matters. Season 1 back in 2025 set the tone with content drops like California Resistance and the Winter Offensive event. Season 2 leaned into the Year of the Horse themed content, and Season 3 kept the momentum going in 2026. The pattern I've noticed across these seasons is that the developers have been steadily addressing the launch complaints, bug fixes, balance patches, and content additions you actually noticed improving over time. That's the real story of Battlefield 6. It's a game that got better the longer it was in the oven. Which brings us to the biggest swing yet, the one that made me want to make this whole video. Season 4 dropped on July 21st, 2026, and it's the whole identity that's naval. It's naval warfare. This is a genuinely big deal, because naval combat is one of those things Battlefield has flirted with over the years, but rarely made a centerpiece. Season 4 makes water a real battlefield, not just scenery. Being in naval combat, it's chaotic in a good way. I've been able to adapt pretty good, and there's a lot of infantry and naval combat as well, like a lot of exchange on both sides, from both sides, if enemies are on both sides, if that makes sense. But what I appreciate is how it forces you to rethink positioning. Like, objectives are important when you're in the water. Like, do boats dominate? Is there a counterplay? And how does infantry deal with naval threats? Like I said, it adds a whole new rock, paper, scissors layer to the sandbox. Is it perfect? I would say occasionally it can be unbalanced, but it makes you want to just do it more to get the experience, if that makes sense. But as a statement of ambition, Naval Warfare is exactly the kind of bold content drop that keeps a live service shooter alive years after launch. And it leads perfectly into the new toys. Season 4 brings 3 confirmed new vehicles, and I've spent time with each. First, the RCB-90, a fast attack boat that's the backbone of the naval experience. It's agile, well-armed, and fun to crew with a squad. And it's pretty engaging when you're in the fight. Then you've got the F-74A Seacat. It's a pretty good vehicle, and it's good to use. And finally, the F-A81F Super Spectre. It's the premium air superiority option, and it's stacked up against the Seacat. I'm not going to get too much into those. Those are the ones I like that have come out. But what these vehicles collectively do is make Season 4's maps feel like a genuine combined arms sandbox. Sea, land, air, all fighting for the same objectives. That's Battlefield at its best. But I still believe there's room for improvement in Battlefield 6 when it comes to updates, balance, any weapons, and just more arsenals. And along with the pacing needs to improve, and a lot of technical stuff has to be fixed, along with the battle passes and store bundles. And I'll be discussing those in the future as well. And none of these are things that ruin the game for me, but they're things that I feel could improve the experience of gamers. And being real about them is exactly why you can trust my verdict, which is next. So if I had to rate Battlefield 6 and everything up to Season 4, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. But the big question is, should you buy it right now? This is my take. If you've been waiting for Battlefield 6 to cook, this is arguably the best it's ever been. The launch rough edges have been sanded down. The season content has consistently added value, and Season 4's Naval Warfare is genuinely one of the more ambitious content drops the series has attempted in years. If you're a returning veteran who bounced off at launch, come back. Please, look again. It's getting better. Slowly. Because a lot has changed. If you're brand new and you love large-scale combined arms chaos, there's never been a better on-ramp than a fresh season with a whole new pillar of gameplay to learn alongside everyone else. The people it's not for, maybe players who want a tight competitive experience, or maybe those who just dislike live service games. But it's up to you. I'm not going to force you to play this. I would just give this another chance, just for the experience. But my overall verdict is that Battlefield 6 has launched as a good game that still has some work to do. And by Season 4, it's grown into something I keep wanting to boot back up to. Naval Warfare has given me exactly the kind of only in Battlefield moments that I've been looking forward to. But I want to hear from you though. Are you playing Season 4? What's your take on the naval combat? Drop it in the comments below, because I can read them and I will read them, and I might do a follow-up based on what your experiences are. So just leave as many comments as you want or need to. And if this gave you a straight answer on whether to jump in, do me a favor, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel. And subscribe if you want more honest gaming or Battlefield coverage as the seasons keep rolling out. And I'll be seeing you on the battlefield. Take care.